The idea that people are either rich or poor is a frequent misconception. Contrarily, there are various classes of wealthy individuals with various traits and lifestyles. The Kardashians, Drake, Beyonce, Cristiano Ronaldo, and other well-known stars who were able to amass their money through their abilities come first. There are also affluent individuals like Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, and Elon Musk who succeeded through perseverance, originality of thought, and technological advancement. Last but not least, several people, including Walton, Mars, and Koch, amassed enormous fortunes through family enterprises and investments. Then there is the Rothschild family, which is the richest in the world. They are truly in a league of their own, and nobody even comes close to matching their enormous fortune. Several conspiracy theorists, if not thousands, have been swayed by the Rothschilds' enormous wealth to believe that they are the ones in charge of the globe. I'm not sure about that, but if the Rothschilds aren't currently in charge of you and you're curious to learn more about the lavish lifestyles of the richest of the rich, click the subscribe button if you haven't already and ring the bell to receive notifications when we post a new video. The Rothschild family wasn't always in an opulent, prosperous environment. Their narrative began in obscurity during the Middle Ages when they resided in Frankfurt, Germany's Jewish neighborhood. Their ancestral residence is where the family name originates. Houses were then identified by symbols above the entrance rather than by numbers. The House of Rothschild used a crimson shield that read Rothschild in German, using the previous spelling. The Crown Prince Wilhelm of Hesse employed Mayor Amschel Rothschild, the patriarch of the Rothschild family, in 1769. When the young prince assumed power in 1785, he assigned Mayer, a court Jew, to oversee the kingdom's finances. Even though today such a position would be extremely offensive, at the time it was one of the highest honors a Jew could receive in Catholic-dominated Europe. Every affluent aristocrat had a court Jew who was in charge of looking after their finances. The majority of nobles possessed the moral sense of a drunken chimpanzee in a brothel, whereas the Bible outlawed lending money in exchange for profit. They had to maintain their godly appearance or risk losing not just their peers' admiration, but also their lands and fortune. Like the Rothschilds, many Jews saw this as an opportunity to amass enormous wealth. Mayer immediately opened a bank and sent his son Nathan to London with the money he earned. During the Napoleonic Wars, this aided Mayer in transferring Wilhelm's riches to London, and even provided funding for the British Army. The other four sons of Mayer built further banks in Paris, Naples, and Vienna during the Napoleonic Wars. They mostly assisted aristocracy during their financial difficulties. Large sums of money were lent to the nations where they had financial resources in exchange for high interest rates. It found that the Rothschild family funded and benefited from every battle fought in Europe during the 19th century, especially during times of war or when entire nations were on the edge of bankruptcy. Financing both sides of a fight, creating destruction and suffering, is not, in my humble opinion, the definition of ethical, but no one can contest the outcome. And believe me, there wasn't a shortage. The enormous wealth of the Rothschild family is the subject of as many myths today as there are stars in the sky. The richest family reportedly has over 500 trillion US dollars, according to certain sources. Yet that's not just difficult to believe, downright it's impossible. A family holding a quarter to a half of the world's wealth is beyond insane, considering that the total amount of capital in the world is thought to be between 1 and 2 quadrillion. Most estimates estimate their fortune to be between 500 billion and 1 trillion USD, which is roughly 2 to 4 times more than Elon Musk, the next richest person. Although their banks are the main source of their wealth, the Rothschild family has also diversified over the years into other industries like mining, transportation, real estate, art, and stocks. Legend has it that they own 30 shares in each of the world's major banks, and they have a minority stake in the Suez Canal. The Rothschilds won't be walking under the bridge anytime soon, though I sincerely doubt the latter. The lifestyle of the Rothschilds is cloaked in secrecy. They are excellent at concealing both their private lives and their genuine fortune, which may be larger than the entire southern hemisphere. Nonetheless, every now and then we get a taste of the lavish lifestyle they lead in private. The Rothschilds, in contrast to many pop stars, don't waste their cash on showy, ostentatious objects with little long-term potential. Most of their purchases are made with the intention of gradually increasing their wealth. They are one of the major donors to art museums across the world and have a sizable art collection. For instance, among other artifacts, they sent the British Museum a Lycurgus cup from the 4th century, which was valued at $40,000 as one example. Over 3,500 items of art were removed from the Rothschilds' estates during the Nazi occupation of France, and Hitler himself visited to select his favorites. The majority of the artifacts were returned after the war, although others are still missing. The Rothschild family owns a sizable amount of gold globally. They own shares in gold mines in addition to the precious metal itself, but unlike some opulent narco lords' children, they have tons and tons of gold bars instead of golden automobiles or AK-47s. Jacob Rothschild recently exchanged significant sums of USD and GBP for gold, which many financial analysts interpret as problematic for the Western economies. Currently, gold makes up around 8% of Jacob's assets. One of the largest real estate portfolios in the world belongs to the Rothschild family. Their possessions may be the pride of any royal family, with homes, estates, chateaux, and villas from Israel to the United States. They own over 13 opulent properties, each worth well over $10 million in Buckinghamshire alone. Their crown treasure, which is accessible to the whole public, is undoubtedly what Manna does. This opulent residence attracts over 450,000 visitors who come to see the lifestyle and class of the Rothschild family. The family is thought to own property worldwide valued at $20 to $25 billion. A Manhattan-sized plot of land in Austria was recently sold by the family for a cool $112 million. Some luxuries aren't exactly investments, of course. Nat Rothschild, for instance, spent almost $100 million on a super yacht. 16 passengers and the 26-person crew can stay on the boat, which is called the Planet 9. The big ship is propelled by 2 Caterpillar engines at up to 16 knots. For visitors to arrive and depart at their convenience, the boat also features a helicopter deck. Nat is the proud owner of a luxurious, extremely expensive private plane valued at more than $60 million. One of the most expensive aircraft on the market, the Bombardier Global 6000, can carry up to 14 passengers in the lap of luxury. Nat's acquisitions, however, pale in comparison to those of his lavish great-granduncle. Due to his love of zoology, Walter Rothschild continues to be one of the most frugal Rothschilds. He spent enormous sums of money on exotic pets like zebras, a big turtle, and several birds. 3 zebras were trained by the eccentric billionaire to pull his carriage across London. Walter built the largest specimen collection the world has ever known. He offered the American Museum of Natural History in New York his collection of birds. The remainder of his incredible collection was given to the Natural History Museum in his later years and after his passing. Where did the zebras go? I don't know, but I'm guessing they passed away in shame long before Walter. Most people know the Rothschilds for the conspiracies they spur. Their enormous riches, which dates back to the 18th century, is what gave rise to several anti-Semitic tropes at the time, such as the idea that Jews controlled the world's currency. The family is linked to numerous crazy notions, including the New World Order, 5-dimensional lizards that rule the planet, and the Illuminati. The Rothschilds are actually just a very affluent family who choose to live their opulent lives in secrecy and strive to avoid the curiosity of the general public. Which ludicrous Rothschild conspiracy have you ever heard?